Israel, the Zionist occupation, they've been bombing Gaza, they've been bombing Gaza for 8 consecutive nights in a row. I mean, I can barely keep up. The other night, they were bombing Qadisiyah. Here's some of that footage. I mean, this is in the middle of the night, you know. They're bombing it at 3 in the morning and claiming that, oh, this is in response to gas balloons. Yeah. A few hours later, essentially, the following morning, I reported on this as soon as it happened. The Israeli occupation is closing the fishing zone off the coast of Gaza after another night of airstrikes. This has nothing to do with rocket fire or gas balloons, and is simply meant to punish and starve Palestinians. Gaza has been under a naval blockade since 2007. Their defense minister, Benny Gantz, he ordered a halt to fuel deliveries and to all crossings. Now, the result of that, the only power plant in Gaza is shut down because they have no more diesel to power it with. It's the only power plant that they got. And because they banned the fuel from entering Gaza, people are going to be left without electricity. Now, you have to keep in mind, even before, this is not enough. You could get maybe 12 hours of electricity a day at best. At best. You have electricity cuts every single day and no running water. Everything is controlled by the Israelis. And they're punishing them now. That's it. It's just a collective punishment. For what? For gas balloons. They claim that, oh, they only go after military targets. But now they're collectively punishing everybody. They're violating their human rights, as usual, as they do every single day. This is disgusting. This is inhumane. You're going to leave kids without electricity? What did the kids do? What do kids have to do with that? They don't give a shit. Of course they don't give a shit. They bomb Gaza on a regular basis. And most of the people in Gaza are kids. The majority are youths. This is the third most densely populated place on the planet. Anything you do is going to go wrong. They don't care. And so they've had them under siege. Since 2007, they put in a naval blockade with Egypt. So they decide when you can go fishing, if you can even go fishing. You can't leave. You got nowhere to go. You can't even leave to another country as a refugee. You're boxed in. You can't go anywhere. You're stuck. It's like a prison. It's literally an open air prison. And they regularly harass fishing boats, even shoot them down, burn them for fun. Yeah, you think I'm exaggerating. No, I'm not. I'm really not. There were multiple attempts to get flotillas into Gaza. Just activists from different aid groups and NGOs bringing food and supplies and clothing. And they sent commandos. They sent commandos to board the flotillas and arrest everybody. Like, how dare you deliver humanitarian aid to Palestinians? How dare you? So they've been under siege since 2007 with this naval blockade. And then 2014, they're bombing the crap out of Gaza and they put them under new rules so they can't bring in construction materials to rebuild. They're essentially living in rubble. There's no infrastructure. They can't rebuild. They can't do anything. I mean, it's just a disaster all around. You know, go watch Abby Martin's film, Gaza Fights for Freedom. She has other material as well on Palestine that you really need to check out. And man, it's heartbreaking. It really is. And I mean, this is just disgusting. As I mentioned, blackouts are already a regular feature of life in the Gaza Strip. On a good day, electricity is available for around 12 hours. I mean, this is just beyond humane. Look at them, man. They living in candlelight. Can you explain what these kids have to do with gas balloons and rockets? Why do they have to live like that? This is what the United States pays for. Those $3.8 billion that you give to the Israeli occupation every year, that's what they use them for. To keep people in an open air prison. I don't know how anyone with a shred of empathy can justify that for 1 second. You can't justify that to me for any reason whatsoever. This is obscene. This is unacceptable. And may I remind you that it is explicitly stated under the UN Charter and the Geneva Convention that Palestinians and any people that are living under a military occupation have every legal and international right to resist that military occupation by any means necessary. Never forget that. There's no such thing as a Palestinian terrorist. It's a resistance movement. But to make sure that you don't give a shit, they have to brainwash you in the media into thinking that they're terrorists. No, the terrorists are the people who do this kind of stuff, who make kids live without water and electricity. That's fucking terrorism. Okay? Don't get it twisted. The ones that are bombing civilians 8 consecutive nights in a row are the terrorists, okay? Last time in 2014, they killed 2,000 people. 2,000 people. For what? You can't justify that to me, man. The way that they treat Palestinians, the way that they're made to live in these conditions, it's inhumane, it's cruel, it's collective punishment, it's completely illegal. No one would tolerate that. No one would tolerate that. So I don't know why people expect Palestinians to tolerate that and just sit quietly and accept that. No, you're crazy. You're crazy. How could anyone accept this? How could anyone accept these living conditions? Dude, this is their land. They're stateless on their own land. Think about that. They can't go anywhere. They can't leave by sea. They can't go to Egypt. They can't go to Israel. They can't go anywhere. They're stateless on their own land. They're refugees on their own land. 3 generations of refugees on their own land. No one could tolerate this. No one should accept that. It's ridiculous. No. This is an open air prison. And that's putting it mildly. That's really putting it mildly. It's a slaughterhouse. That's what it is. And make no mistake, everything that's been going on for the last 72 years is ethnic cleansing. It's by definition. When you are driving people out of their homes, ethnic cleansing. And when you're bringing new people in to populate the land and steal it, ethnic cleansing. Look up the definition. This is literally what it means. You might be listening to this and seeing this, and you might be wondering like, oh no, there's something up here. Like, surely this can't be what's going on. No, this is what's happening. They respond to anything with airstrikes. It's always disproportionate. Dude, if you throw a rock, they shoot you. Even if you don't throw a rock, even if you're standing still, they shoot you. They killed Iyad Hala. They killed so many other disabled Palestinian men for no reason. None. And you got to understand something, man. You have to understand something about the history of this place. Before 1948, before the UN partition plan in 1947, before there was even anything called Israel, you had these armed gangs. Many of their leaders went on to become prime ministers of Israel. You had the Bar Giora, Hashomer, Haganah. All of these, it morphed from one into the other as it got larger. Their whole policy from the beginning, I'm talking the very, very beginning of the 20th century, 1907, 1920s, their whole policy was always disproportionate anger and disproportionate violence. They were murdering Arabs, they were murdering Palestinians, they were murdering British officers, they were even killing other Jews. If you're Jewish and you don't agree with the state of Israel, they'll kill you too. Oh, you think I'm kidding? Dude, they put 350 kilos of explosives in a hotel. It's terrorism. I mean, it's always been that way. They always respond with disproportionate force. Always. That's their policy. That's how it works.